The head of all of 343 for the past 15 years has been Bonnie Ross, and she has now announced her retirement from, well, for now, I guess 343. I don't know about the industry, but that was announced today, and I'm back from my trip and felt like talking about it with you because this is a big deal. If you don't know, Halo's like one of my two favorite game franchises of all time, between that and Kingdom Hearts. And Halo Infinite has been under a lot of, I'd say the Halo franchise as a whole has been under a lot of, a big game of racquetball, let's say. Critics like all the games that they've made, but then there's hardcore fans that seem to be upset, some happy. It's been a much more rocky road for this face of Xbox since their inception in 2001. And this franchise was so much more beloved back then than it is today. And a lot of people have said recently, in the past couple of years, that is because of not the developers, of the management. And now the head of all that management has stepped down. First off, before we go into this, one, hey, it's Keebs. I'm back from travel. I am so tired, but there's a lot of things going on today. Nintendo Direct tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Codename Good Game this Sunday. If you've been here before, like the content, subscribe, and love the bell. But, two, we need to also say, just quick, get this out of the way before anybody, I don't want this to be open season on bashing on Bonnie. Because there's some good stuff Bonnie did with this franchise. And honestly, if it wasn't for her, Halo would probably not be here today. It wouldn't have. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, and I don't mean in like a pot, like critic and review wise or whatever, like it's as good as it is thanks to Bonnie. I mean literally Halo as a franchise would have potentially been done very shortly after Bungie wrapped up. There's a lot of things that show that Microsoft was kind of thinking, Halo's a classic franchise for them, and they're just going to kind of let it, die out with Reach and ODST. But Bonnie was one of the people that was like, no, I'll step up and I'll keep this franchise going and keep it going to places that we never gone before with it. So it's thanks to Bonnie that Halo is still around today, and a few other good things. And she says she's leaving because of family health reasons, which, obviously, best of luck to the family. And with all that being said, going to Halo now, if you're a Halo fan like me and are a rational one, you have probably been one of the many people that have said it's not the developers that are necessarily the problem, it's the management. Having to allocate resources for the flagship franchise of the company that just dropped $70 billion to acquire Activision and Blizzard. When you are the flagship face of that company and have to allocate resources to not give split screen, there's something going on with those resources. How are they, who is looking at that? Who is managing 343 and making it feel like there's an indie team working on Halo Infinite, which many have deemed is finally the Halo game that 343 got right. Halo 4 had a good campaign with a decent story with just some gameplay mechanics, but that was a good campaign, but crap multiplayer. Halo 5, crap campaign, but really good multiplayer. And then Infinite, it seemed like they finally got it with a really good to great campaign, the best campaign in my opinion that 343 have made, the people that took over Halo after Bungie made the classic games that I'm sure you know and love. Campaign was great. Multiplayer played great with great maps, but just not enough content for this first live service model that Halo's been doing. And it might have been Bonnie herself that made that call that I have always said, where Halo Infinite is a early access Halo game. They refuse to market it as that for whatever reason, but it is. I just want to set the stage because a lot of people were saying management is the problem at 343. Microsoft, why aren't you doing anything about the management? Matt Booty, the person that's the head of Xbox Game Studios, how come you're not doing anything about this flagship game franchise that has to allocate resources. And clearly something is going on. Well, not only is Bonnie stepping down, they're also rearranging the management. Bonnie was in charge of like the entirety that is 343 and Halo. She was in charge of it all, the show, franchise, games, everything. But now that she's stepping down, effective immediately, and I quote, they're swapping her out for Pierre Hins. I can't say his last name, I apologize. Pierre is stepping up to become the studio head of 343 Industries, effective immediately. And his job is going to be the ongoing development for Halo Infinite and Master Chief Collection, which is the game that he saved. If you don't know who Pierre is, he is the guy that saved Master Chief Collection and has been in the gaming industry for the past 22 years. At least. I think more than that, actually. And if it wasn't for Pierre, Master Chief Collection would have been left as a failure that I personally think just the campaigns worked fine. It was just the multiplayer that was crap. But Pierre brought the multiplayer in that collection as a whole to being the best collection I have ever seen for any video game franchise ever. And now he is the studio head that is going to be overseeing Master Chief's Collection's development and Halo Infinite's. But he's not going to have to worry about everything else because they added two other roles, being Brian Koski, who's going to be the general manager for the franchise that is Halo, you know, in charge of maybe, I don't know, toys and comics and, you know, Halo as a franchise. And then there's going to be Elizabeth Van Wyk, I hope I said that right, who's going to oversee business and operations. So Elizabeth has got, don't underestimate those roles, because Elizabeth, she's the one that's got to get Matt Booty on the phone and be like, look, I am ready to get Pierre and freaking Joe Staten. Ever since Joe hopped on, it seems like, you know, the team's in a mentally better place on what Halo is. And that's going to kick off in season 3. And he brought back, I forgot, another former key member of the Bungie Halo games to work on the game. But Elizabeth is one that's going to get on the phone with Matt Booty, hopefully, and be like, look, we got that former Bungie dev, we got Joe, and now Pierre's going to just be focusing on game development and nothing else, like Bonnie was focusing everywhere. Pierre's just focused on game development. We are ready for this fresh start. Can you please make it so we don't have to allocate resources on the flagship franchise for your Xbox Game Studios? That's a Matt Booty conversation that needs to happen. And it looks like maybe it did happen. Maybe this is the response from Microsoft. And maybe Bonnie Ross couldn't, as a human, totally understandably so, couldn't handle the pressure that happened from that roadmap we just got. But this is a great step. Again, respect to Bonnie Ross. Because without her, you know, who knows if Halo would have been around today. Like, really, who knows? And she did some good things, and I hope the best for her family. So just saying that, that's out of the way. The future of Halo is looking a lot better because this is exactly what people asked for. A shake-up in management. A shake-up in the management that has developers. I don't care what people say. If you look into the history of these developers, they are passionate about Halo. They want Halo to be good. They are not just some random people working on the game, except for maybe some contractors. But I imagine even some of the contractors, they are fans of the game. There are good people working on this game, but there has just been crap management because Bonnie was so focused on everything instead of just focused, you know? But now that is that thing between Pierre, Brian, and Elizabeth. We're not going to see the immediate effects of this, like, for a while. Season 3 is going to be that beginning of the path that I'm sure a lot of Halo fans want Halo Infinite to be. But this is the sign that really, up until Season 3, they're going to be salvaging Halo. The hashtag Rebuild 343 is happening. This is what fans wanted. To potentially know how important Halo is to Microsoft, you can watch a video here I did many years ago. And stay tuned, because tomorrow we have a Nintendo Direct to talk about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to be geek, be proud, be awesome.